Good morning. It's showing that I'm on live, but once more, for some reason, my picture isn't here. Just a second. I just want to check something and figure out why. This is the second time this has happened. And yet, when we watch it back, I'm definitely there. So I'm not sure why I'm not being seen now, which is unfortunate because I've got lots of things to show and share, but I'll continue on. Looking at a blank screen, and trustingly you are not. And if anyone's watching, you can please add in the comment section, you can see me, then at least I know. Today, I'm answering some questions that have been placed to me through comments. One is on guides a little bit more, and the second part is on pendulums. Now, the first thing to recognize is that everyone has a guide. Very often I was taught that, Christine says, thank you. She sees me. Thank you. I don't know why. This is the second time now this has happened, and I'm not sure why it does. Everyone has a guide, and whether you use it or don't, they've come with you when you're born. They're called a doorkeeper, actually, and they do have a job. And that job is to help you be connected to what we call the light, and to stop unwanted entities from attaching. But like everybody, sometimes they get a little off topic, and do whatever, especially if you're not paying attention to them. As I've mentioned last week, is that I became really aware of my guides, never mind the ones that were talking to me in my sleep, but when I was starting to teach meditation and psychic development, was that there was always this teacher there who helped me with the group, led the group kind of thing in a way through me. And so over the years, what happened is that when I'd be meditating, they would one of the ones that I was working with at that time would take me and introduce me to another guide, which would be kind of like steps, would be a little higher and higher. And that went a couple of times until they took me to meet a guide called Rama. And Rama was quite evolved. And he worked with me for many, many years until I got another period of time when I got ill. And I had just moved up into the Okanagan here. And so he began being busy. He would check in every now and again, but basically he kind of went on, and I was just left with other guides. But I had a journey with Rama. I'd been working with Rama for a short while, and he said, I want you to come with me. I'm going to introduce you to somebody. And he took me and introduced me to Jesus. Sounds weird, maybe, but that's what happened. Years later, when I was in Lourdes in France, where I was there with my daughter and my friend Holly, who lives in France. And we went to Lourdes for the day, and we went up the very high. There's a little, I don't know what they call them, church, I guess, a little church at the very top. We separated where we were sitting, and I looked up, and there was Mother Mary with Jesus on one side and Rama on the other. And I went, Rama, what are you doing here? We're in a Catholic church, right? And here he is with his turban and everything. And Mother Mary said to me, why should he not be here? He is one of my children. And so anyway, I got chastised by the Mother Mary, and made a very good contact with her at that time, and used to work with her for a little while. Anyway, that was my adventures with guides and being told off by the good Mother Mary. But you never know when these experiences happen and how they happen and things like that. So the key is, when you're meditating, be aware of who's there, helping you, instructing you, showing you what's what, because that strengthens that bond. As I said, I have progressed over the years. Rama definitely, and even now sometimes I call him and have conversations on things, but I'm not as active as I was back maybe 10 years ago, when I was really active with groups and lecturing and all that kind of things. But then I'm getting on in age, so it's like my energy levels isn't always as much as when I was in my 40s and 50s and even 60s. Now, so the guides are there. Their job is to really help you, not tell you what to do. Some people say their guides tell them what. Mine never really told me what to do. They make suggestions maybe, but they're there to guide. That's their name. We call them guides. That's what their job is. They're to guide you on the path where you want to be, how you want to do it, how you want it to go. They're very important in your progress. Like I say, they would talk to me when I was meditating. They would run my groups for sure. I mean, I remember for years when I was first starting out, there would be this guide who would come and he would be sitting like in a throne up above me kind of thing. And he was there for a long time and he ran my groups. There was no doubt about it. He would tell me, watch this one, look at that one, or whatever, but he liked to sit in his chair. So we can have a lot of interconnections and a lot of what would you say, pleasure moments with your guide, because your guide is there to help you, and that's what their name. That's what they are there for, to guide you. Whether you listen to them or not, that's up to you. But for me, they were very, very helpful. They guided me along the way in when I learning years. I would call them the learning years, when I was running groups and my son has mentioned from time to time when we were doing psychic development and things like that. They were teenagers, but they would come and learn. And quite often they would talk about different things. But when Rama came, Rama ran all sorts of things. He taught me how to channel. He taught me how philosophy and to see the bigger picture. And as I said, took me to meet Jesus, was at the Lord's to talk to me then. So you see, it's like being open, I think. I think the major thing there is to be open and watch out. And I was very open. I wasn't, I didn't have a lot of other influence. I just sort of worked along. I had studied with my tarot and it sort of was an extra going on. So if you have any questions on how guides work, please ask. And the second, because I kind of wanted to wrap that up a little bit because I realized I'd left a little bit unsaid last week. And if you didn't hear last week, please go back and take a look, listen to last week's Norma Talks. Now, pendulums. I'm going to show you the moment here. This is my usual working pendulum. It's you'll see most pendulums have a point on them. This one's sort of brass because I'm a bit rough sometimes, and so but yes, it answers. This is my yes back and forward, but not everybody's yeses are back and forward. And this is my no when it's no. I use this in my transformation work when I'm looking at you might say all the different aspects that I want to look in. Like, is there a problem here? And it'll say yes, or it'll say no. And so I work on these sheets that I've put together, and it will tell me where I've got to go to clear, because this is how it work. This one will work. So this one is there, but I also have my travel one. It has a little bag, a little red pouch, and this is it's made almost, I don't know what it's made of. I should know what it's made of, but it's almost unbreakable. And I don't like traveling with the one I work at home all the time, because I work at home with this one, but this one travels with me. And it's like a slate of some kind. It's very hard to break. Whereas this one, which sits by it's a little fancier. It's I could see the chain needs cleaning probably. It sits by my chair where I sit and watch television in case I want to check for something. It's of a light blue and some crystals on it, and it works if I think yes, or if I think no. Now, if you're going to get a pendulum, you can go to any kind of metaphysical store, and they will show you a wide range. And so that's how I came to buy this blue one, because I left my pouch of things behind when I was traveling, and I went into a store and I chose this bluey one. And at the time, I used to have a lot more, but I don't know where they've all gone. They kind of, I've, when you move and things like that, things can get little out of whack. Now, one of the questions that came in was, do they do anything? Then say yes or no. And the thing is, yes, that's what they ask is yes or no. But what you want to do, what I found, I was, sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. My second husband had a friend who was very into pendulums, and also he taught me a whole lot. And he actually wrote a book, which I have misplaced over the years. But he taught me a lot about energy of the earth and how you can use your pendulum to work with that. And he, for instance, and I'm going to share this if anyone is having this problem, underground streams. And he points out in his book, actually, is a photograph of two trees that were planted at the same time. One tree had grown really high, the other tree hadn't. And he said, see this tree that it hasn't? He points out in this book as well. It's over an underground water. And then he says to me, if you want to get pregnant, don't be over water. Don't be over an underground stream. He said, women have often come and say, I can't get pregnant. And he said, checks their land or whatever. And he says, well, you're sleeping over an underground water. Like you don't know it's there because it's not visible. So that's one of the things you check for. And how you check for that is if I'm looking at energy with anything, and I do this in houses when I used to do ghost busting in houses. By the way, I have a book on that, some of the fun I had over the years. But it's like I would say, oh, okay, I want to see where it is. Now, there's a couple of things that can happen. You'll know, I'm doing this. It's not I'm pushing the pendulum the way I want it to go. See how it's going back and forward. Now, I'm pushing it towards the screen, but I'm going to do it this way so you can see. That's kind of, if I was standing behind it, it would be moving out this way. It will show you where the ley lines are, if that's what you're looking for. It will show you where the energy streams are. Now, when I'm going ghost busting, we'll say, I want to find out where they are. I'm not a super duper clairvoyant. I'm an intuitive. So I feel more than see, even though I do see things, but not as much as I feel. So again, be aware of the different criteria that you have. So my pendulum has been very, very good to me over the years, showing me where the energy is. So very often, and I'm talking about sleeping over water, but it's ley lines. Ley lines are also an important thing. The world is full of these grid, you could say, and we call them ley lines. When the ley lines cross, and you're trying to figure out like your home or wherever it is, your pendulum will go back and forward. Like, well, I'm going to do it reverse way, that way. And I would follow the patterns by just letting my pendulum run, and I would follow where it is, and then when I get there, it would go, crazy, go round and round crazily. When you have a pendulum, you've got to make sure that you're in contact with it, that you build it up. You look at how it's going to work. What is it going to work? Where, and what is it you want to do with it? And also, just off the top of my head, this part of your wrist here, right there, is very powerful. So when you go, that's the arm that doesn't want to be in properly. Okay, so here we go. You take your newly bought pendulum and you attune it to that part of your wrist, and you bring it up, and what you'll do, it'll go round and saying like there's connection made. And so that's where you start, is making sure that the pendulum starts. Then it wants to go. It wants to do things. Now and you can follow the energy lines. I used to find when I used to ghost bust, I used to go in and take a look a little bit clairvoyantly, but basically, okay, where am I going here? And the pendulum would take me most parts as to where it was going. Then I would sit down and concentrate on what's happening or what's going on. But it is an incredibly, efficient tool if you know how to work it. It is practice. This is one of the things practice makes, well, everything that you want to learn it, like tarot or a crystal ball, which I also learned how to read, is that you've got to know, and you got to practice so you know how what it says to you and how it works and all the things that go on. So I wanted, the other thing that I used a lot for was the power when we go into a vitamin store or a place that has vitamins and things, we want to know the power of that. So I'm not sure. I'm going to put this back closer to me because then I think this will pick it up. So I've got a big fairly thing here of turmeric. It's not one of my favorite things, but I just grabbed into the cupboard. So I place my pendulum above it, and then what it's going to do is start moving around and around. Now I'm not doing that. It's doing it. It's going to show me the power of these turmeric. It's turmeric. So power of the turmeric. And you wait. Now, what this is telling me, even though this is 500 milligrams, that it's not very powerful. And I don't always, when I buy something, do this right away. Now, this one is Oregon. Or no, I know how to say that, but I've got a mind blank here. Oregano with D plus D3. I have not done this to any of these things because I wanted it to be. So here it sits. Pendulum comes in, touches the top. Now, notice that already it's spinning. I'm hoping you can see this. And it's spinning fast, and it's not stopping. It can go. Sometimes I have them spinning around certain things that it's just in a straight line and around. And that, yeah, it's starting to slow down now. See, and so that tells you, okay, it has some power in that. It's not super great, but it's powerful enough. And now this is a new one that I've got, and it's K2D3. And because I'm on so much other stuff at the moment, I don't always remember to take it. Now, let's see what happens here. This is a new product line that they say their products are very, very, very good. Hang on, I'm going to pull that a little closer because I'll hold it actually. Let me try again. I want to see if you can see this. Because this is one of the things you can do. It's not a yes or no. It's a checking on the power. And I'll come to your questions in a minute. I just want to finish this demonstration and show the difference. So this one is going, and I'm going to put it back down on the table here, but it's going and going and going and going. And this is mean. The people who put this out say it's really good. And I would say, based on the swinging around of my pendulum here, that it is very, very, very good. So that's one of the things to do. Okay, we're just, and I'm stopping it now. But yeah, that's a plus. Now this is another one that I used with every now and again. It's a Canadian bitters. It's a little small travel. If you get heartburn or something like that, I found they're very productive. Again, I have not bothered to check these, so I want to see your part right in the beginning and the looking, etc. So here we go. Okay, wow. See, you'll really see this one is really moving. Now, I have found that this Canadian bitters is for indigestion, or tummy's feeling a little upset, is always very, 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 very good. And obviously, why is because it's moving. It's really moving. There's a lot of power in this one. I'm going to stop that. A lot of power in that one. I have one more. Oh no, that's just something. Anyway, that's how you can do it. Now I'm just going to look at the questions here, and and then my brain will tell me if I've forgotten something. Yes, I hope it will. Christine says, "Hi Norma. She can see and hear me. Great, because I can't see and hear me." Now, Yvonne says, "Love this. Thank you very much. I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad. That's me saying that." And then just Robin says, "Hi, Norma. I am new and I want to say welcome. Thank you." And then she says, "What if it doesn't move at all, it's called practice. It's knowing that the magnetic part of your wrist here. So if you're left-handed, is that when you want it to start, and you got to give it a question. You got to ask, is this or that? Yet, and it does say yes or no. You've got to find what your yes and no is. You're building up a mental rapport with whichever pendulum that you want. I can pick up pretty well any pendulum now, and it'll move for me. But it wasn't in the beginning. It was practice in all sorts of ways. But it's like the most powerful is this part of your wrist here, where you put it in and then you watch it and go and sense. And it is like anything you want to do. Excuse me, is practice. So I just see Ashika says hi. Thank you. Know that, hang on, I'm going to cough here just a sec. Know that your tools, a carpenter really values his tools. He looks after them, he makes sure they work well, etc. And the same things. And when he was first learning how to bang a hammer or use a saw, he practiced that. I mean, he would have been maybe apprentice, or he was just, making something around his house so he could learn. It's not something you just pick up or some people will pick it up and it's like at home week. If it's not moving, if it does not move, you keep practicing. Every day you pick it up, put it on your wrist, and think of a question you want a yes or no to. If you want to, first of all, determine what's yes, because my yes is like a up and down like this, going straight back and forward. That's my yes. Some people's yeses are the opposite. They go round. Now, that could be to do with their basic magnetic field. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think that's part of it. So it's very, very much in the sense that what's the word I want to say? Yeah, practice an awareness and a respect. It's not something to disrespect. Like, as I said, this bluish one sits by my table. I don't use it a lot, but if something comes up and I want to know something, or something hits my mind and I want to know, I will just reach for that. And then I can find out the answer for me. But this is my biggest tool, is this one, because I use it in all the transformational work I do to find out where the blocks are, what's happening with them, what do I need to clear, and all that thing. And Veronica has joined us, and she said, I can see you, which is wonderful, because today I won't see myself now. I'll see myself later. I'm watching a replay of it. Now, is there, hang on, just Robin came in again and says, I just found my pendulum this morning and it has been a while due to an injury since I've used it. I will start practicing. Then thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, you guys ask the questions. I'll come up with the different ones. I have already run a couple of sessions where I've basically taken a comment where they were wondering about something and I've talked about it. I know quite a bit about psychic stuff because I've been in it a long time, and I may not be whatever. Let me rephrase that. I may not say what everyone else says. Sometimes I feel I'm kind of on a whole different field or a whole different way of looking at things, and sometimes what I call old thinking creeps in. But that's because when I came in on the scene, I had teachers that were not following the accepted norm all the way along. But I have found that things work really, really well, what I do and what I say. I really appreciate you listening. I feel like it's listening because I can't see me. Watching the programs. The comments I value, and I'm a little behind answering because my left arm, where I have the problems these days, it doesn't like typing at all very much. So a lot of this is I have to kind of, pick with one finger. So I'm a little late in answering that. But maybe not today, tomorrow, I trust I'm going to get to those. That's on my agenda. So I just can keep persevering. I hope I've answered the questions that people were wondering about guides and about pendulums. Remember, the guides are there to support you in your spiritual journey. That's their job. They're not there to tell you what to do, although they may have comments sometimes, but they're not there to tell you what to do. They're there to support you. And if you ask them and you get to the place when you can ask them a question, they will certainly let you know their perception of it. The pendulum is a tool. That's what it is. It's a tool. And like all tools, as they need respect. They need to know work with you, learn how to work with you, how to be. Like I can pick up any pendulums, even my travel one, which doesn't get used much these days because I'm not really traveling, but it answers right away because it sort of sits there and waits. When's she going to come and pick me up? So it's knowing that you go and you choose a pendulum that you like the look of, the feel of, and practice over that part of your wrist, this magnetic aspect here. We'll get it. And ask the questions that is a specific yes or no, because it won't answer if it's kind of got a little more to that. And you know, is this whatever? There was one thing that I wanted to say. Very often when I've done house cleaning, cleaning houses of spirit, what I often do is I'll demonstrate this again, is I would take the pendulum and get where their energy field is, and I'd follow it like this. Like it would lead me where I needed to go. As I said, I'm not really a great clairvoyant per se. I can be, but that's not my main thing. But with the pendulum, I can earmark where things are, and then I can tune in on that because of the intuitiveness. So I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you too for the thumbs up. I want to thank you for your comments. I want to thank you for subscribing. What else do I need to thank you for? Oh, just a reminder that every month I put out a newsletter. And if you wanted to get on that, please go to my website, which is just normacowie.com. And you can ask to be signed up. Also, you can pose any question you want me to talk about. And yeah, lots there about what my books and things like that. So I'm sorry I didn't get to see myself today, but I will be happy to see myself later because it will show up, obviously, because you could see me. Therefore, I don't know what creates that, but anyway, not for Lynn. Lynn Eklund's here, so hi, Lynn, and you're here to say hi as I say bye, and I wish you well. Send your comments. I really will include as much as I can in them. Christine says thank you very much, and one final big breath. You have a great day. Enjoy. Bye now.